Hey kids, Dad here. Happy Tuesday, July 16, 2026. It's a wonderful morning. It's about 9:23 in the morning. And I wanted to continue this step series. Yesterday, I talked about this magical blue book of mine that's all bookmarked up, and going to any random page, I've got all sorts of things highlighted and circled and whatnot. And how that book has 12 steps. And how those 12 steps transformed my life, really. They led me to a spiritual experience that I can't explain, that I don't even yet fully understand. But they're the reason that I have everything I have today. I have less material things in my life than I've ever had, yet I'm happier and healthier. It's a bizarre paradox. But yesterday I talked about step one. Step one being recognizing that my life is unmanageable and I'm powerless. So that one was easy for me, as I talked about yesterday. If I was in charge of my life, I am fired. I am fired. I had screwed everything up. I would have fired me if I was the manager of my life. I had done a terrible job. I had managed to find myself in a state of complete despair, depression, misery, damage I had done, financial ruin, up and down the list. You can go on. It was an absolute train wreck. So I'm fired, right? That's my step one. I'm fired. I am powerless. I don't have the power or control I thought I did. And my life is unmanageable as a result of that. It had become unmanageable. So I'm fired. So what do I do then? It takes us to step two. Step two is coming to believe that a power greater than me can restore me to sanity. What does that mean? For me, that one was pretty easy, in part. So I've already said, step one, Ryan, you're fired. You're fired from being the manager of your life. You suck at it. Okay. So then who is in charge of my life? That's where it came to believe that a power greater than me. Because if I'm no longer the manager, I need somebody stronger, smarter, more powerful than me to be in charge, right? I need to make someone the new boss of my life. And that someone can't be me. So the funny thing is, in the book, in the steps, it talks about how that thing's a higher power, but it really is talking about God as we understand him. Well, I didn't understand God. So I couldn't just say, okay, Jesus Christ, you're now in charge of my life. You're my new manager. I report to you. Here to serve, what can I do? So I had to find, the hard part of step two for me was, so what is this higher power? What is a power greater than me, smarter, stronger, wiser, that I can put in charge of my life? I had to think on that for a couple of days. I had to meditate and noodle on that one. And I came to conclude at the time, back in late December 2024, that I'd been going for about a week and a half to these men's support group meetings. Every morning at 7 a.m. And I would sit on Zoom and I'd look around and see all these squares. And these were guys who had terrible pain in their lives, just like I had. Yet they were smiling, they were happy, they were laughing. They had reassembled their lives. They had rebuilt their lives. And they did it without any sort of substances, without any drugs, without any alcohol, without any fancy medications. And I looked at them and I admired them so much. And they treated me so well. They took me under their wings. Said, we got you, buddy. So I made them my higher power. Because I could look on my screen every morning and see the face of a guy who had been exactly where I was 30 years ago. And he had somehow managed to stop drinking alcohol, to cease using any drugs, and live an amazing life. So I knew that guy was certainly stronger, smarter, wiser, more powerful than me. But not just one guy. It was the collective. Something I called the group conscious. The collective wisdom of other men. That was my new higher power. Because for centuries, for hundreds of years, for thousands of years, maybe millions of years, men have walked this earth and done things that I cannot do. They've demonstrated more discipline, more self-control. They've demonstrated a stronger set of values. They've accomplished more. They had truly lived better lives than I had to that point. And I knew that they had tapped into something that I had yet to find. So I made that collective wisdom of the group of men who've come before me. I made that my higher power. And in late December, I made that decision on what's called step 2. That okay, step 1 tells me, I told myself, I'm fired. So who's my new manager? Who's in charge? The group. This group of men. They are my new higher power. They are the manager of my life now. So what does that mean? It means I'm going to show up every morning at 7 a.m. I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to ask them questions. I'm going to be honest with them. Brutally honest, even when it's embarrassing and humiliating. I'm going to be honest with them. And whatever they say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Because clearly these things, something has worked for them where I have failed miserably. So my step 2, coming to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. That one became easier for me. Once I figured out what is that higher power for me as a group of men. Now it's since evolved. It has since evolved into something I call God. But step 2, transformational for me. Game changer. Anyhow, love you kids so much. Excited to talk to you tomorrow about step 3. We'll talk soon.